Billy Big Balls here, episode 10. Never thought we'd make it. I'm only joking. We're gonna have 1,000 episodes in no time. Watch this space. But I'd like to introduce special guest tonight. Good friend of mine. Big supporter of the show. John, how we doing, bro?
Philip, doing fantastic.
Good,
and I'm so proud of you, bro.
Thanks very much, bro.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And it's gone from this level to this level, and it's going to go bigger and bigger. I have to say, where you've come from, what you're doing is absolutely incredible, pal. It really is, man. You should be so proud of yourself, pal.
100%, John.
Really
100%.
should be so proud of yourself.
Yeah. You know, you know what? I take like, when someone say like you're proud, you know, I can't, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you should be, because
I can't really, I don't really, you know, it's like, I don't know how to phrase it, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I don't, you know, when people say to me, oh, I'm proud of you and all, I find that hard to accept it, you know, that way, because I just think, like, you know.
I think it's absolutely fantastic what you're doing, Philip. I really do, and I think you really should be 100% proud of yourself. The lads are involved with this with you as well, like, you know, it's actually incredible. And you're making a difference in the community as well. People are hearing different stories, and you know, you listen to different stories last week, the week before that, and it's going to get better and better, and then people are tuning into it, like, you know, people want to hear hope, people want to hear people that are real, and their life stories that are real as well, like, you know.
Here, listen, everything we talk about, like the likes of being on drugs and stuff like that, like, it's not, we're not sugarcoating it for anybody, because the reality is, like, if we could stop one person from taking drugs, it'd be brilliant, you know what I mean? Because like what we're trying to get the message out there is, like, I know there's loads of people online nowadays and all, and they're all coming out of rehab and this, that, and the other. No, like, and massive respect to them, like, fair play to them, you know. But like, rehab never worked for me. Going to NA meetings never worked for me, but it has worked for millions of people. And like, that's like, I don't know. Not different. But it didn't work for me. I went into rehab. I went into fucking Cundara in Cherry Orchard, you know. And I couldn't wait to get out of the place. It was just like, it wasn't for me. You know what I mean? Everyone was trying to you're in there with a load of people, everyone's coming off the same, everyone's getting off drugs. People are angry and frustrated and all, and you're getting into I was getting into scraps all the time and all, you know what I mean? I was always in a blade, in something. So I was like, this is not for me. I left. Then the NA meetings and all, like, they weren't for me. So I did everything I did, getting off everything. I did it on my own.
That's what I'm saying. That's like, why you should be so proud of yourself.
But
you've gone from that to this. Look at this. That's actually a miracle when you look at it. From where 100%. You came from, like, you know what I mean? And now you're giving hope to Ringsend, Pier, different communities. People are looking. If you can do it, I can do it.
Oh, look, anybody can do it. You know what I mean? I'm nothing special.
Like, you drive the BA van. So you're special.
Oh, not anymore.
Oh, you know?
No. That's gone now. The company I work for, I love it. Love my job. And they gave me a brand new van. 2025. Fucking brilliant. Top of the range, automatic. I can't complain, you know what I mean?
You actually sleeping there?
I was waiting for that, remember the cruise control? You remember the Remember years ago the story about the fucking some bloke in America? He said cruise control, but they had to put a thing on it saying, you know, cruise control, but that doesn't mean you can leave the wheel, you know. Some bloke put it on cruise control and he was in one of these fucking mobile homes, went into the jacks. The thing crashed. But in America, they're mad out there, you know what I mean?
Everything up there, like,
but so what's the crack with you, John? What was it like growing up in Pier Street for you? Like, Ringsend, I know you from when we were young. Paths crossed in different ways, and it was always drug related or something, you know what I mean?
Big in the soil and all them places and all.
Taking yokes and all, you know?
But I'm actually originally from Pier Street, Pierce House Flats. I grew up in, like, but I think I was always called a Ray Towner because I was half Ringsend and half Pier Street. I hung around Ringsend. I went to Ringsend school, so I was kind of like, you know what I mean? I was always in between, like, and now I'm in Ringsend now as well. So, but growing up in Pier Street for me was absolutely incredible. You know, we wouldn't have had much back then. My father worked in the bottle company for 48 years. He was my hero. He was my everything. My mother, great sister. At an early age for me, I was people would see me as a sports person. Played football, played hurling, and I played Gaelic. I went to Baggery School, and I was kind of in a special class because I couldn't read or write.
Right.
And I was always a messer as well. And the lads that I was in that class were, you know, today most of them are dead.
Fucking hell.
You know, and I went on and I stayed in the class, and I went and played hurling, and we ended up winning in Croke Park. It was the first time Baggery ever won the hurling final. And I was so proud of it, running around Croke Park with a cup in my hand. And from that early age, people would recognise that I was a runner. I joined every running club, I was in every sports club. I had trials for the Dublin team. I played for the Dublin team that leads on to the Irish youth.
Yeah.
I played for different teams all over Ireland, back and forward over to England. I scored 126 goals in one football season. It's still never been done. And I remember the time, there was a guy, I don't want to mention his name, but if he's listening to this, you know who he is. I went for trials for this team, made the trials. They were a top team at the time. And we went over, and me and the other lad joined the team. We were there, we got our jerseys. And I'm not used to being a sub.
Right.
So I was subbed. And me and the lad were on the sub, and the guy said, get John on and get the other lad on, get the two of them on. Half time, we're 5-0 down. And these are just stories where I loved football. It just shows me a passion for football and sport. I absolutely loved it. And I think it was 4 or 5-0 down, and I went on the second half. And I'd love to mention the guy's name, but I can't. But yeah. I know he's probably, I know he will, he's from Links End. And I went on the second half and scored 6 goals. We won 6-5. And from then onwards, I was noticed as a football player, a goal scorer. I loved playing football. But as I was going to school and playing football and playing hurling, you know, you sniff Tipp-Ex, glue, tinners, you just get involved with all that. Loved wrestling. I was just a sports person. And then, you know, at night time that we'd be smoking grass. Back then it was hash. We were smoking a bit of hash on the stairs, and it led from that. And then after that school, I went to Western Road School. I think it's going to first year or something. Yeah. So, but the class, I could never read or write, so it was kind of like my way of acting out was being bold. So, because the teachers used to call me up and ask me how to read a book, and they knew I couldn't read. Yeah. So my way was just always acting out. And I was in Western Row. I only got into school one day. I was there my first day, and outside the school was, what's outside? A horse and car. I'm getting on that. I'm getting on that horse and car. I went down, and me and another lad jumped on the horse and car, flying down Boyne Street on the horse and car, and the horse wouldn't stop. Next one, on top of it, I think whatever it was, a BMW, the horse went up. I was gone, right? Legging it. But the next day, I went into the school, and they were all standing there. The principal said, you're not coming to this school. So what did we do? Me and my friend went out and tumbled that car over, and we chased the other team. So it was just all crazy stuff, like stupid stuff. Trying to be somebody that I wasn't, like, you know what I mean?
Showing off,
looking for acceptance, you know. I couldn't read, I couldn't write, I couldn't do the stuff. So I was always looking for acceptance, like, you know. And then I ended up going to Rings End School. I lasted there for a while, and eventually I was out at Rings End School. And I got involved with then, you know, drugs. I was taking, you know, acid, ecstasy. I ended up going to the Olympic. The rave clubs. And I just opened the door, a floodgate, and I thought everything was great. I was still going out playing football. I was still banging the goals in. I was still playing for top teams. And then eventually, I remember coming home from one of the nightclubs one night, and to come down off the stuff, they were all smoking heroin. And I said, I'd never do that kind of stuff. Like, I don't want to do that stuff, like, you know. And I'm coming home at 4 in the morning, and my mother and father on the bank. Look, I'm only a kid. They're looking for me. Where is he? Where's my son? They're walking the streets. So, you know, through my story, the biggest heroes are mothers and fathers. You know,
people that don't give up on you.
Give up, like, you know. My mother and father never gave up on me, like, you know. It was a journey from there, you know, going to the rave clubs, and I remember one night they were all doing it in a house, and I said, okay, I'll try it. And before I knew it, I was injecting heroin. I couldn't believe it, and I remember, you know, waking up, and I was like, just about a week later, because we were doing it constant. I said, my body's not right. There's something wrong with me. It was like my body was craving for drugs, for heroin. And before I knew it, like, you know, it wasn't football managers coming to my door. It was the police coming to my door. I remember getting pulled out of the house at 4 in the morning. I'd have all the bags of heroin into my tongue and swallow them. And my poor father would be pulling one arm, the guards would be pulling it, because, you know, my dad didn't know what was going on, like, you know. So that's how the drug scene started for me. It was my choice It was my own choice. You know, I wasn't made. Someone never put a needle in my arm. I done it myself, and I became very dependent on heroin. I became one of probably the youngest drug dealers in the neighbourhood. Outside Maroney's pub there, I used to sell all the heroin. And the crazy thing is, I was so naive. I would go to Joseph Mansions, and back then in the 90s, Joseph Mansions was crazy. The drug scene was crazy. I was delivering drugs over to Joseph Mansions.
There's some red hot over there.
Yeah, it was absolutely crazy, like, you know, delivering drugs. And then coming back to a house, and it'd be a big table there, and it'd be all the heroin and the coke, and we used to call it snowball, and we used to put heroin and coke together, and inject it, like. But by this time, we weren't getting a buzz. It was just making this normal. And I was doing this on a constant, back from Joseph Mansions, back to houses. But then when then people had no drugs, my family, my dad, I robbed my father of everything. He worked for 48 years and I robbed him. It was like, I could never understand why my dad leave all his money under the mattress. And I was taking it, and I kept taking it and taking and taking it. And then I'd come to the house and he'd never throw me out. I could never understand why he'd never throw me out. And I robbed him, and it was actually just hurting people after hurting people. And then, you know, shameless things I would do. You go out snatching people's handbags, you would jump counter shops, like, you know, you robbing all people. And it was absolutely a horrible, horrible life. And I hated what I was doing, because here's a young lad that had a football career going for him. And now I'm dependent on heroin to stick a needle in my arm to be normal. And to go out and rob people. And eventually I went into prison. And I remember going to prison, my first time in prison, a few lads from Ringsend were there. They took me into the cell with them. But I got into my own cell the next night. And when that door closed, man, I cried like a baby. I cried like a baby. I wasn't a hard man, I was a coward. I was sitting in that cell and I was crying, and I remember the door opened the next morning. I put this mask on and say, what's the story, lads? Let's go. Here we go.
Well, boys, what's the boys? And then when we go down to this and down to that.
It was horrible, like, you know. But one of my biggest regrets, I'll go back for a minute, was I was in a nightclub. And I know the mother kind of always blamed me on what happened that night. It was in a 21 club, and, you know, the lad is dead today. And we were in that club, and a fight broke out. And because they always thought I was the ringleader, I was this, John, you take him on outside. I say, who was it? Him there. And it was nothing got to do with me. So I went down outside to take him on. And next of all, there was about 20 or 30 lads there. We got bottled out of it. My friend got scarred down his face. My head was dancing on. We looked around, there was no one there to help us. But I never started that trouble. You know, and sometimes I think, like, you know, the parents sometimes thinks it was, but it was nothing got to do with me. Me and the lad got battered, like, you know what I mean? And but they're the kind of lifestyles that we lived from, you know, being a good kid, from robbing apple trees, from doing all this kind of stuff. And people always say,
the bollocks.
People always say addicts come from broken families. I hadn't got a broken family.
No, me neither.
And you were saying, from your mother's a beautiful woman.
You know, like, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for me, ma, I wouldn't know. Like, if you hadn't gave up on me years ago, I'd be probably dead now. You wouldn't know, you know what I mean? But like, like your family, like people, that's what people think. All these people that are on drugs all came from bad backgrounds, dragged up, this, that, and the other. That's not the case. Like most, and even people like in areas like ours, you know, they were in bits like the areas, you know. But your family, like your mother and anybody else who was in the gaff with you, you know what I mean? They love you, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's, and then you just get fucking, you just get caught up in shit. You start fucking doing, like, for me, like, we start doing this. And then after years, you know, you're coming back and everyone's like, you know, oh, yeah, this new thing, everyone's smoking, it's bleeding. You start doing it. But you're thinking, like, it's like the yolks, like, you take one every week.
But it's not.
And then before they know it, like, it's every day. And
every day.
Fucking, your whole life is just ruined.
Dependent on it. And I just say, like, you go from methadone clinics to methadone
see
clinics.
that methadone.
It's...
Like, we touched on the methadone last week, right? But I meant to say, you know, when you're on it, you want to go on holidays. So when you have to get a letter off your bleeding doctor to say that you're going away. When you get to the airport, you have to fucking go to the customs and say, look at here, I have methadone here. Like, it's bleeding degrading. Like, you know what I mean?
It's horrible. Like,
it's a fucking. You know what? Like, like I said last week, it took me three horrible weeks. But it was the best decision I ever made.
100%.
Fucking,
and it shows that can be done. It's all about choices, isn't it?
It's definitely like, you know, if you put your mind to it, you can fucking do it. Look at this.
Yeah,
like,
it's incredible.
You know
That's what I'm saying. That's why you should be so proud of yourself.
Yeah,
it's incredible what you're doing, like, and what you've come from and what you've achieved today. Like, you know what I mean? I was just saying, going back to your mother, fair play to your mother.
Yeah,
never gave up on you.
Exactly.
I don't think we'd be here if it wasn't for our mothers and fathers.
Definitely. Like, Irish mothers don't get the bleeding recognition they deserve, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's what I'm always saying, even when sometimes I'm sharing my story, like, I was sharing in front of all these kids before, and the kids were applauding and cheering. I said, hang on, kids. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my mother and father also. But you kids are the heroes, because you don't do the things I've done. I was a coward. I was snatching people's handbags. I was jumping counters. I was robbing shops. You are not doing that. You are the heroes. I said, look at all our lives and don't go down that road. Yeah. And that's why I want to share tonight, is let people know they don't have to go down the roads we went down.
Like when we were younger, you know, when people are giving you advice, you never listen to them.
No, never.
Like, I think back now and I think, why didn't I fucking listen to them? They were fucking just trying to put you away.
Yeah, 100%.
But, you know, and it's even nowadays, like, say for me, saying to, say young fellas I know, say, listen boys, you want to do this, you should get a job, you should get this, you should get that. And they're looking at you, and I did the same, they're looking at you going, check that muppet out, you know what I mean? They think anybody who's over 25 or 30 is a fucking idiot. They don't realise we lived a life much harder than you are going through now, like, you know what I mean? Like, the 80s and the 90s.
Oh, it was crazy.
Like, the heroin was just
crazy, rampant. Everywhere.
It was like, a fella only said it to me yesterday, actually. The way the heroin was in the 90s is like the way the weed is now. The weed is the new heroin, like, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's fucking on it. You know, it's crazy, like, you know?
And as you're saying, like, you know, but even now, like, it's all kind of phones. Back then it was kind of like you just go to place from place. Every corner you go to, you can get drugs, you get heroin, you get anywhere, like, you know what I mean? But back then, I felt it was 10 times worse than it is today. Honest, cause we can get heroin anywhere. Back then, like, you know what I mean? And it was horrible, like. But you know, I always look back and say, I thank God. I always had a kind of a sense of God, and I always cried out to God. I remember snatching a woman's handbag and I saying, God, I don't want to be doing this. I really just don't want to be doing this. My mother and father are coming to prison to see me, and I don't want to be hurting people. I really, really don't. And it used to break my heart, like, you know. And I remember we had a place in Pier Street. It was called the Cozy Lodge, if I can remember. And in the morning I got up, because I was selling heroin, I could have it put
was that down at
Leo Fitzgerald's?
At the pizza club?
Yeah, in there.
Yeah.
Some mornings I'd go in there, I'd have all my heroin, but I'd have no needle. But I'd go through all the dirty needles.
Looking for them.
And I'd just pick a needle up and just clean it. And I didn't really care, because I was sick and I wanted this to be normal. I would do anything for it. And, you know, sometimes you go to Merchant's Quay to collect your citric, whatever. But sometimes I used to just use vinegar. And that's the kind of the darkness we are in, the brokenness we are in, the pain we are in. Like, and people sometimes, that junkie. He's not a junkie, he's somebody's son.
Like,
he's somebody's daughter, like, you know.
You know what the thing about, this is what I found anyway. People that are on drugs, you know, when they come off it, like, they're unbelievable people, you know what I mean? Like, before they got on it, they were fucking lovely. Not that they weren't lovely when they were on it, but you know, everything goes dark. You just become a fucking cunt. You constantly fucking think. All you think about is getting drugs. You don't give a fuck who gets in the way. All you want to do is get this. You're craving it all the fucking time. You become a bleeding like I remember fucking, like, you know, you become like, you know, fucking what you call it, bleeding. Jesus, man. That's how it is, you know what I mean? You manipulate everybody and everything, you know what I mean?
And you believe in your own lies also.
You know when someone's trying to manipulate you, because you're at the being doing it, you're on drugs, your head's like people I know, like, I know what the game is, I know what they're going on. And they think you're a tick, you know what I mean? But they don't realise you're at the being a heroin addict for a fucking not half your life, but a fucking...
For years.
And you're doing all this sneaking around, all this fucking conniving shit. So you're weird to when people are doing it to you. And they keep doing it, and like, you're thinking to yourself, do you think I'm a fucking idiot? Keep going on the way you're going on, and you're going to find out how much... I'm not an idiot. You know what I mean? But they just... People, like... That's like, I'm not going to say, like, I have someone in mind, but like, you know what I mean? But they going around doing things, you know? And you're like, you're the fucking idiot thinking I'm a fucking idiot. But one day I'm gonna wake up. Like I'm gonna give you as many chances as I possibly can. But when I'm gone, I'm gone. Like you know what I mean? And you just keep doing all this. Man, I like. You know, you're sitting there like, I was a heroin addict.
Yeah.
I did all this conniving behind your back doing fucking backstabbing, doing shit.
Yeah,
you know the signs, you know what's, and people just keep playing with you. And then like, okay, good luck to you, man.
Yeah.
You know, I don't need that kind of shit in my life. My life was like, now it's like so simple.
Yeah, and it's brilliant.
Like
that's what I'm saying. It's great. You have a great life today. Like you have a fantastic life.
Like,
but people don't realise what we went through. Like you know, and how we came out of the lifestyle. I remember a time I was in the city centre, going delivering drugs, dropping them off, and every time the police would see me, they always grab me throats, I'd be swallowing the drugs.
Yeah.
But I remember where the Spire is now, and there used to be toilets there.
Yeah.
So I went down there one night. There was about 3 or 4 of us.
All the ramp boys used to be in there.
That's
how you want
to we went down there, about 4 of us, right? And I had a bad turn. I had no veins, so I had the wherever you put it. But I had the deck bomb, and everybody was gone. I was left there to die, and only for I was found and brought wherever to the hospital. Like I would have been dead today. But I'm saying, you think you have friends when you're an addict? You don't have friends. You don't have anybody, because everybody's first thing is to get that hit. They get that drug. They get the extra few quid. They're always trying to get one on all over you. Like you know what I mean?
Like I heard a story. 2 blokes I know, they used to hang around together. They used to be always on. You were on the gear or whatever. But they were telling me they were in the gaff one time, you know, and they had a turn on. And one of them hit the deck, you know?
Yeah.
And the other fella was convinced he was dead, you know what I mean? And he was like, fucking, what the fuck am I going to do? But he was clever enough to go around, he started washing the cup and all. I know.
Yeah, it's mad,
he started washing the cup, cleaning all the prints off the door and everything. Yeah. And then by the time he was about to leave, your man started coming around, he was like, Jesus. I'm after cleaning the whole
place and he's grand.
Yeah, no, you're all right. You're bollocks,
But that was them days.
But even sorry to cut across, you know that, remember that movie, Adam and Paul?
Adam and Paul, yeah.
Right, and right at the end of it, they nailed it, you know, when your man's dead, when you find your man dead, and he walks off. And I was thinking to myself, nah man, if he was a real addict, to go back and next minute he comes back and he just takes the gear out of your man's pocket. Because that's what you do, you know what I mean?
Of course, that's what you're thinking about yourself.
You're thinking about yourself, exactly.
Like, you know what I mean? It's all about you. I want the next hit, I want the next hit, like, you know what I mean? And that's what it's always about. Like, even when I used to, when I was selling the heroin and the coke, it was never to make money or, you know.
Just to feed yourself.
And I remember I was outside the pub there on Maroney's and selling the heroin. And some guy out of the church up the road used to come up and tell me, you know, come down to the church, that God can change your life. I'd be trying to sell him heroin, I'd be trying to sell him car radios and all.
Yeah.
Said, get out of here, pal. But he'd come back and he was always planting seeds, like, you know. And then a couple of weeks later, I was in Pier's house flats, and I was the biggest scumbag in them flats. People hated me. Oh my God, it was absolutely horrible. It was horrible for my mother and father as well, like, you know what I mean? And I couldn't understand where people were coming from. I was a scumbag.
Yeah.
I was robbing everybody, so I had the right to that. I remember going to a woman's house one night, and I got into her house, and I don't know, she mustn't have been there, because I ended up having a turn on, taking a spoon out of her drawer and having a turn on, and I overdosed. And she came back, she never called the police. And she pulled me around and she said, son, you need to get to church. God can change your life.
Yeah.
I said, where am I? Get me out of here, like, you know what I mean? And the next day I was back out there, and I actually ended up going to the church, because I tried the methadone clinics, I tried everything, I was trying off every clinic. I owed out so much money. People coming to my mum and dad's store looking for money. It was absolutely horrible. They were coming from Sheriff Street, Joseph Mansions, knocking. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible on my mother and father. And it was so I started going around to the church, and they said, son, listen, we can get you help. And I had a big court case going on as well. I was going down for, as I say, about 4 or 5 years. I would have been going down for. And they said, son, we can get you out of the country, but you had to get your doctor to say that you're okay.
Yeah.
But my doctor's not going to say I'm okay. I'm on loads of methadone.
He wants to hang on to you.
So I went to my doctor and I come back and there's no way I can. I said to him, I can go, get me out of the country.
Yeah.
And he said, we can get you out, say today was Sunday, we can get you out Wednesday. Okay, I'll go. I just wanted out of the life.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be living. If it was Mormons, if it was God, if it was anything, I would have just done it.
Yeah, just wanted out.
I wanted out of it. And then I remember I went around and I had to go over to Sheriff Street to meet the pastor of the church, and my dad, as is again, comes with me again. And he brings me over, the lad meets me to bring me to the plane. And I'm waiting outside the place at the train station there, and I said, Dad, I'll be back in a minute. I'm out of here, I'm going to Joseph Mansions to get a hit. And I ran towards Joseph Mansions and I said, oh, I can't do this. I can't do this no more. This is games. I need to take the mask off. I need to be just me. And I come back to my dad and I said, no, Dad, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And they brought me to a place. I went on the yoga. I didn't know where I was going. Didn't know who was going to pick me up. I didn't know what was going on. And I got picked up at an airport. And by then, you know, they search you, so you can't have any drugs on you. You can't have This place is a drug-free. You know, there's no smoking, there's no drinking, there's no drugs at all. It's away from everything. That's why they were saying, make sure you're ready. And I remember getting picked up, and even that night, I was just, oh my God, get me out of here. I can't, I'm sick. I want to get a hit. Anymore. And the lad there with me said, listen, come on, we could get the train and go to London. And I said, like, I'm out of here. And the lad said to me, John, if you leave, it's going to be the biggest decision they ever made, and it's going to be the wrong decision and the worst decision. He said to me, God has brought you here for a reason. Now, I would have looked back 25 years ago and say, oh my God, look at my life now. And he said, stick it out. And you know what? It was a barn. People have it so easy today. I was in a barn with 30 people. I was withdrawing off heroin, crack cocaine. There was a guy withdrawing off alcohol, getting sick and pounding all over. It was horrible. And I said to myself, I couldn't sleep. I was awake for night after night. These people come in and pray with me. I was like, no, I just had to stick it out. I have to stick it out. I have to stick it out. And a couple of weeks went by. I still wasn't sleeping, but I'm getting stronger and getting better. Wasn't eating. And one, you know, I'm not sleeping. So about 2 o'clock in the morning, I sneaked out because I was very strict. Now that was very disciplined. It was 10 times worse in prison. So I sneaked out at night time, and I went, and they barely had any food. So it was calm. I don't know. I can't remember. Starving, eating that, you know, get my appetite back. I was starting to eat food again, like, so back into the bed. And then the next morning, everybody gets woke up at 5 o'clock. They teach you discipline, no newspapers, no nothing. That's the life you live. We're going to teach you discipline. You're going to. And they had to go up at 5 o'clock in the morning and pray. And even if you were sick, you'd come out and sit in the sea. And the guy says, listen, I have something to say here. I'm like, what's he saying?
Someone at the cornflakes.
We have a robber in the place. I'm like, what? Who robbed the cornflakes? I'm praying like this, and like, I'm not saying that. But to this day, I was terrified. I was terrified. How do you want to throw me out of the place? But they're the kind of things, like, to where I am now, I had to stick it out. And I stuck it out for 2 years. And stuck the program out. And then through one of the programs, I got very sick. My liver, they realised I had all the hepatitis. My liver was very bad. So they took me off one of the programs, and he said, listen, John, you're very sick. We're going to put you in the hospital for a while. So they didn't put me, they sent me to London to, it's like a recovery house. I was taking 14 tablets a day, injecting my liver. They said I was one of the first people to ever do that interferon.
And
I was so sick from it. I was so sick. And I was saying to myself, God, I'm away from needles, and I feel like I'm sticking needles back in myself again. And I remember like waking up one morning, and they would teach us how to read the Bible. And the first book I ever learned how to read was the Bible, because it was there, like, you know what I mean? And I opened the page, and there's a psalm. It says, Psalm 103, it says, praise the Lord, all my soul, who heals all your diseases and redeems your life from the pit. This is what the Bible says. I'm like, God, you're redeeming my life from the pit. Now you're telling me you're going to heal all my diseases. I went out to the pastor the next morning. I said, Pastor, look. He said, John, they send you down here because you're not well. You're teaching me this stuff. So look what this, I'm going to open the Bible to this. I want to go and get bloods. He said, no. I said, I'm going home. So the organ, I made a phone call, went and got bloods. Within 2 or 3 weeks, my liver was totally brand new.
Wow.
By the power of God. Honest to God, totally brand new. There was no trace of anything in my liver. And they could not believe it. I finished the program, and I went away a broken man. I went away full of pain, full of everything, you name it. And I wanted to give everything back. And on the way home, honest to God, my dad came to the airport. I went away, I was about 7 stone away. It was so bad. I was coming back and bleeding. All the food and all. I was saying,
all the cornflakes,
rubbing all the cornflakes. But I got to the airport, and my dad was my hero. And even though I put him through so much pain, he was my hero. And I got to the airport, I had a shirt and tie on. My dad's there with the pastor. He said, where's my son? Where is he? There's your son there. My dad just broke down, grabbed me and hugged me. And I believe that God made all things new for me. He gave me a chance in life.
Yeah.
And from that day to this day, I've never ever stuck a needle in my arm again.
Yeah.
Never ever stuck a needle in my arm. And my goal was to come back and help people.
Yeah.
I always wanted to help people. And I got involved with St. Mark's Church there in Pier Street. And I was in there one day and I was getting the lads to come to church, helping them out and all. And people couldn't believe it. They were all coming to hear my story every night. Like, I was in Pierce House Flats. He brought me into the flats on top of the Bankley. And I just said that God has changed my life. The whole flats were clapping and cheering. I was the worst of the worst. And now I'm bringing hope to a neighbourhood. And to see so many of my friends coming through today. The prodigal son returns home, like, you know what I mean? But I always wanted to come back, like, and make a difference. But I thought, okay, listen, I'm clean now, I'm doing well. And I was in the flats one day and my dad got a bit worried because everybody was knocking at the door. Yeah. You know, people are looking for help. Yeah. But my dad thought it was kind of other way around.
Yeah,
too many people
coming back for drugs or whatever.
And then knocking at the door, and my dad, and I had a fight with my dad, and I said, I actually cursed at him and whatever. And the church got me a little place, and the next day I get a phone call. My ma, John, get over. I said, what's wrong? Your dad's taking him to the hospital. I said, what? Got to the hospital and my dad was dead. It was the hardest thing that I ever had to face. I wanted to give this man back everything that. It was one of the hardest things, honest to God. I don't know how. It's only by the grace of God that I never turned back down that road of drugs, like, you know. Don't know what I know from this day that it was God that kept me. And it was hard, it broke my heart. The last conversation I had with my father was a row.
An argument,
over him worried about me and me saying, you know. Yeah. But then, you know, life goes on. And I was in church and I met a lovely girl called Sabrina. And oh my God, she just melted my heart. Honest to God, she was a girl that never came from my background. She never smoked, she never drank, she never took drugs. And I met her. And I was in the church and there's loads of, you know, young girls, old girls, whatever. Yeah. So I was talking to her one night and I said, Sabrina, we had a group in the church. I said, we're all going bowling, would you like to come? Yeah. And she goes, who's coming? I said, there's about 20 of us coming. She goes, yeah, where are we all meeting? I said, we're all meeting in town. She goes, okay. So we changed numbers and all. So we got to town, I'm standing there, waiting on my own. Here comes Sabrina. I said, how are you, Sabrina? She goes, where's everybody? Oh no, it's just me and you. Yeah. And that's how I got to meet my wife. Yeah. And I ended up marrying that girl. And honest to God, she became my rock, she became my everything, man. She was always there for me, always encouraged me, because sometimes when you come out of a program, you still have problems. Oh, yeah. You know, you deal with drugs, but you might have anger, you might have addictions, you have different else. Issues. And I ended up marrying Sabrina in St. Mark's Church. Yeah. Best day of my life. Honest to God, I'm married now to Sabrina 23 years, 24 years, 24 to say. Years. 25 years, 24. I'm married 24 years now. And I'm involved with St. Mark's Church there. I have two sons, Nathan and Joshua. So proud of them. Lovely. They were lovely. Yeah. You know what? You should be proud of them. I really am. You know, the young, what's his name? Nathan. Josh. He worked in the shop for a while. You know, really nice young lady. You know what I mean? And Nathan, I know him from playing. He's a mad Nathan Chelsea. Loves you, mad Chelsea fan like myself. You know. Yeah, but Nathan is the youth pastor in St. Mark's Church at 23 years of age. Is what an achievement. Yeah. You know. I was robbing St. Mark's Church car park. Yeah. I was robbing the cars in there. I burned the building down beside it, me and another friend. Yeah. And now I'm in St. Mark's Church speaking, talking, sharing. I have lots of my friends there. I was best man for a few of them. I have other friends there from the neighbourhood. And one of the amazing stories is, one of the guys I used to sell all the heroin for. Yeah. I ripped them off. I don't know, I'm not even going to say how much money, but I ripped them off. I ran away, boom, got my life together, whatever, I come back. And I got a phone call off him a couple of years later. I said, John, I said, yeah, what's the story, pal? I want to see you. Come to, no, I'm not going to your house. Let's go for a coffee. Yeah. I said, oh, no, I don't know nothing about that. And I came and met him, prayed with him. And he is in St. Mark's Church totally for about 3 or 4 years, totally clean off everything. Yeah, no, I met him not so long ago, and it was like, fair, man. You know, like, it's fair play because, you know, like, you see people like, and you get to a certain age and you think like, this is me for the rest of my life. But it doesn't have to be. No, 100%. Like, no. It's just like we keep saying it every week because it's true. There's more to life than drugs. Oh yeah, 100%. Like it really is. Like you know, like
we fucked up our lives.
Yeah.
We absolutely fucked our lives.
100%.
Like, fucking,
yeah.
From the age of about, like, don't get me wrong, when we were doing the years, they were bleeding, it was great times.
Yeah.
Really nice, really good times taking the oaks.
Yeah.
But as soon as it got onto the smack, that was it. It was over.
Heroin destroyed everything.
And not only that, then, like, that methadone. See that methadone? That's a fucking course,
it's
man. I don't, like... How that is played.
I still know people that would have done it with me are still on methadone.
Oh no, we know loads of people, and that's what I was.
Yeah.
There was a fear because you hear stories about people that got off and then a couple of months later they're dead. And you're thinking to yourself, Jesus Christ, it was it? And then people be saying, oh, did you hear, man, when you got off, as soon as you got off the fire, you kind of went on a. And then you're like, so you're kind of scared, you know what I mean?
That's what I say, and people.
I met a bloke, actually a bloke from Pier, you know this fella, you know, but he lives in Ringsend now. But I met him and he was at the getting off it. And I was talking to him and I was saying to him, how long does it take to kick in? And he goes, listen, Billy, you're going to know like in a day or two like, that it's happening, you know what I mean? And it just like that, in a day or two, I noticed it, you know what I mean? But I was committed to it. I had to do it. I got to the stage in my life where I was like, we're getting off this shit, man. I'm not fucking taking this shit anymore. You know, you need to bleed and get your stake in your life together.
100%.
Like even when I got off everything and I fucking, I was working on a building site at the time and all when I came off, and then the boom went and everything was gone. You know, I took a job in St Andrews.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, I remember that.
A CE scheme, right? Doing a bit of garden, and people used to say to me, what are you taking a job in there for? You're getting an extra score a week and you're going in. And I said, no, you don't understand. It's not. It's for here.
But that's why you are here today, because of that.
Exactly.
That's why you had the right attitude.
Yeah, if I hadn't, it was an extra 20 euro. But then what happened was, when I was working there, I started doing the plants with this bloke, you know. So and he was showing me how to make up hanging baskets. And he says to me, listen, if you come in here and do 20 hours a week, right? Nobody's watching you. The labour's not going to be looking for you. Go out and do whatever you want then. So we start making hanging baskets and doing all things like that. And then the job I have now, I just happened to be going in there. I was selling the eggs. And I went in, I used to give the butchers and all. I used to give the butchers and their eggs and all, you know. And they were saying to me, listen, there's a job going here. They're looking for someone to drive the van. And I went for an interview with this with the bloke who owns Juniors at the time. You know? Sound. Absolutely. You know when you talk to someone straight away, you get the vibe off them, you know what I mean? Either two of them, like, they're just like, just ordinary blokes that had a bleeding thing. But he gave me the job. And then in the lockdown, he says to me, listen, we're going to have to close the restaurant and everything, you know what I mean? But here, go around the corner, the shop around the corner, your man around there is going to look after you. No. Bang. And I'm been there ever since, you know what I mean?
Isn't it? It really is, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It just shows, like, you know, what goes around comes around.
Yeah, if you have to stay positive. You have to, like, I'm all into all that now. Like, you know, people, they'll be thinking to me, what are you on about? The power of positive thinking, the power of attraction. I believe in all that, you know, manifestation and all. But like, you have to put the work in as well.
Yeah,
you know
100%. I mean?
Like, it doesn't just come. People think like, oh, your manifestation, you're going to manifest this, and it's going to be there tomorrow. It doesn't happen like that.
No, you got to.
It comes, you know what I mean? But you just have to be, switched on. Like, you know, and at the moment now, my mindset is like, you know what I mean? Listen. Everything good is coming to nothing good is going to pass me, you know what I mean? And that's regarding everything. And to be honest with you, in the last few months, things have changed in every aspect, you know what I mean? Like, things
it's brilliant,
isn't it?
Yeah. It's exciting times for them.
Big time.
Really
like,
is.
you know what I mean? Loads of new things are happening, like, you know, and you're like, fucking... Because, I think for the last... probably 5 or 6 years, I don't know what I've been in, like a rut, stuck in a rut, you know what I mean? Like, forgot who I was, everything, you know, just like, I feel like I was stuck in a rut, and it like, you know, like the board I was with, you know, like she probably seen a difference to me, you know what I mean? Like everything that happened, like I'm not blaming everything on her. Like there's two people in a relationship, like she didn't. It wasn't all her fault, you know what I mean? Like it was, we're both to blame, you know what I mean? But she probably saw the difference in me. Because I just didn't want to do that.
Yeah, so you get
I didn't want to go anywhere. I didn't want to do anything. It was like, I don't know, I just went on a mad one.
Yeah.
But like, I'm awake now.
And you can see how free you are now.
Yeah, no, look,
you can see the joy in you. You can see the happiness.
Back, like into like music and stop listening to certain types of music and all because I don't know what it was.
I don't listen to all that music now. Really, I'm a big fan of that. Like if you come to our church, right, maybe one day you might just come in the back of it.
Yeah.
We have 500-600 people in that church, right? Probably about 2 there. We have a band on the stage.
Yeah.
And you want to hear the music. It's absolutely incredible. I remember I used to be in Soyads in the asylum and I used to be singing drugs that taken my life away. And be dancing to it like zombies, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now I go into a Christian church, a born again Christian church, and sing to Jesus because he's the one that changed my life.
Yeah, yeah.
But maybe one day you might step in the door, have a little look, and see.
Yeah, sit there, who knows?
The only minute I come onto the show, he's going to church Sunday. You never know, Philip. But it's exciting times for you, and listening to part of your story as well. Like it's actually brilliant. Like for me, even I could never get off the streets of Pier. I've travelled all over the world now.
Yeah.
I've travelled different places, building houses, bringing my kids to build houses. With different charities our church are involved with. Last year, this year. My job is so good to me. I work in the markets, the fruit and veg market. You call me John the Baptist.
That's right, yeah. Actually, someone said to me, John. You go, so John the Baptist. I said, yeah.
Like this year, I didn't go. I usually go every year, me and my wife, but Joshua wanted to go, so I raised all the money for him and his friends and different people to go on this trip to give them an experience for what it's like in a different country, where a country they have nothing. And they absolutely love it. And it changed their lives. It changed their attitude. Yeah. Like in Ireland here, we have everything. Yeah. We have everything, And even tonight when we're talking, I hope there's someone listening to this. Maybe you're a mother, maybe you're a father, maybe your son is on drugs, and phone us. Yeah. We're here to help. Like even for years, we've done a lot of work in Rings there. We were involved with the church. Me and my wife, she run the middle and toddlers group in the church there. I remember painting people's houses and all. Not many people knew about it, but we're here to help. Yeah. And maybe if you're a mother and a father and you feel like you're on your own, we're here. And always pick up the phone, Pier Street, Rings Down, wherever you are, because there's hope for your kids. Yeah. But the parents are the big heroes. And I want to give a big shout out to the parents. Like if you're listening to this tonight, you know what? Don't give in. Don't give up.
Don't give up on your...
Really, 100%.
If your kids are on drugs and, you're probably at the end of your tether and you're probably thinking, get him out of the gaff or get her out of the gaff or this, that, and you know what I mean? But, man, the worst thing you can do is throw them out. Yeah. Because what happens is you throw them out and they lose hope. Yeah, and that's sometimes, even I've been in houses in Rings End, and what breaks my heart sometimes is I get a phone call off a mother, I go, I say, please John, can you help my son? I said, I can't help him, but I can put him down the road. And I go into the house, the mother and father are broken, they want it so much, and you're talking to the young lad, you're like, he doesn't want it. He doesn't give a bollocks. He doesn't want it, and then that's the sad part, and that's why I feel so sorry for some of the mothers and fathers, But even when I got married, I had no job or that. I was outside a lighthouse, the lighthouse on Pier Street. This is over 20 odd years ago, when we used to be all in there playing the guitars and all. It was great setup. It was feeding all the homeless, the Irish. It was brilliant. And a man walked by that place one night. I was only out of treatment, and he walked by and he said, "What's in there?" I said, "Come in." He was an American man. He was here to run Teleconern, and this is just after my dad before my dad had died. So he came in and showed him around. He said I was a Christian years ago. He said I just kind of lost faith, and I said no problem. So after that night, I was staying in Greystones and he was staying in Dunleary. So we got the train back, and I think he had no change. I ended up paying him, and he said, "I'll get you back for that." I said, "No, you won't." So we changed numbers, and a long story short, his family ended up coming over, his 3 daughters and his wife, and that's when my dad dropped dead. Right now, this man didn't know me from Adam. Yeah. He knew he was an ex-addict. When my dad died, he took me into his home and he let me live there. He helped me through the things about my dad, and he ended up giving me and my spring a honeymoon to Aruba in the Caribbean, paying for everything for us. And eventually went back to America, had a big church in America, and brought our family over every year. Yeah. That's how I just think it's a miracle. Oh no, really, people sometimes I just say the people you bump into, the people you talk to, you just don't. If you didn't do them 20 hours, I don't think you'd be where you are today. I wouldn't have had the job. Yeah. And not only that, I met this other outflow, right? He actually died a few years ago. Fucking an old guy, Joe, fucking diamond, you know. And he taught me so many things, you know. Yeah. But he was real, he was a real sarcastic outflow, you know. He had a name for everybody, you know. And I remember when he died, I met this bloke, and your mum was saying to me, "Oh, jeez, I heard about Joe," and I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And he goes, "Oh, he's a lovely guy and all this, you know."
Yeah.
And when your mum walked off, I was thinking to myself, "You want to hear the name he had for you?" He had a name for everybody, you know what I mean? He used to say, like, you know, about these hounds, you know what I mean? She's a bit... she's a little thrush or something like that.
Terrible, isn't it?
A pain in the cunt, you know what I mean? I remember one time we were doing gardens, you know, and he says to me, my sister-in-law wants me to go out and trim a bush. I nearly bleeding crashed the van. I was like, trim a bush? And he was looking at me going, "You dirty bastard, yeah."
This guy is terrible, isn't he?
He was fucking, but this fella, he was a fucking... He went too quick, you know, that kind of way, you know.
It's sad because, you know, even the people that go, I've lost so many friends from, you know, Pier, Ringsend, and, you know, lads have died through different, you know, we don't want to mention them, but, you know, it's sad.
Big time.
The guy that was in Crow Park when we won the hurling cup, he only died there 2 years ago. All from Pier, we're all friends. It's just so sad.
So many people went really when we were growing up and all, you know.
We hear the successful stories, and, you know, our shout out is to them young people.
Yeah,
you don't need to go down that road.
Oh, man,
you don't get involved with a boxing club. Get involved with some sort of club,
you know,
football
like,
club, like, you know what I mean? Even me and Nathan, we are running the boxing club for a long time in Ringsend, like, you know what I mean? And we were probably doing a bit too much, so we had to kind of step back. My son was getting married and all. But if I was in Ringsend, I'd have my kids in them boxing clubs, like, you know, really would.
100%, you know. To be honest with you, like, if I had kids myself, you know, when they're grown, you get them apprenticeships, get them into something, you know, because... They need it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, and if they hear, look, when they do an apprenticeship, become a plumber, become a carpenter, you can fuck off all over the world.
And that's what you're saying there. It's actually amazing. As I said, I had no education in skill round, but Joshua worked with you he's 20 now, and he's in the second year of his apprenticeship as an electrician.
Good man.
You know, so it's you know, it's amazing how I came to, more or less where I look at, I came to God with nothing. I came to him with a broken heart, a dark mind, full of hate, full of anger. And he's given me a beautiful picture of a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful lads. It's absolutely, it's a miracle.
Yeah,
but that miracle is for everybody.
Oh yeah, no,
you know, and it's all about choices as well, like, you know.
This is it, like, you know, some people are just probably stuck in a rut, you know.
Yeah, it's hard.
But that's why we're, you know, we're trying to get the message across to people.
Yeah, 100%.
Look, man, you know, listen. We lived it.
Yeah.
We lived that life that you don't want to live.
100%.
You know, like, that's why, like, you know, even like for your kids and all, when you're getting, you don't want your kids to have the life you had.
No, 100%.
Like, and anybody that wants their kids to have the same life they had, man, you know.
Nah, it's something wrong.
Like there's something wrong there, you know.
Even when the kids come and, you know, we share my story, and the lads know where I came from, when they know my story, and, you know, they're so proud.
Yeah.
They're so proud, and I always tell you don't need to be accepted off people, son. You don't need to be part of the crowd.
No,
you said take the mask off and be yourself. Don't put these masks on all the time.
Like, you know, don't change yourself for people to like you. Just be yourself, and the right people will like you.
And that's the
that's the way it is. You know what I mean? Like, look at me. You know what I mean?
Everybody loves.
Yeah.
The thing is, a lot of people do put masks on, and that's what as I was saying when I was in prison that time. And always putting the mask on, but when that cell door closed, you're like a little baby.
Yeah.
You come out the next morning, you think you're a hard man, but to be quite honest, you're a clown.
Yeah, well, big time.
You know, and then doing all the stuff that you shouldn't be doing. Like,
you know, like, remember years ago, it was like a badge of honour when you went to jail. Like, everyone was like, locked up and all. But when you think about it, you were a tick, you got caught, you know what I mean? Like I went to, I actually ended up going back into prisons and sharing my story. I was there a couple of years ago. I was going to visit this guy. He was a good friend of mine, and he's been in prison all his life. And I went to court for him, and I said, Your Honour, I'm visiting this guy every week, and he's in prison all his life. Can we please give him a chance? And the judge is looking at me, he says, I know you, Mr. Gorman. I said, yeah. And then what happened, a long story short, he ended up releasing that guy into my care. Yeah.
I got him into the treatment centre. So that was the plan, to give him a chance in the treatment centre. So got him in, delighted, going to see him for years in prison. And next of all, I get a phone call off Irish Town Police Station. John, I said, yeah. Are you a carrier of? I said, yeah. He's down here catching him robbing a woman's house. Now there's a guy you're getting out of prison. You're getting him to get a great chance, get into a programme where you didn't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And then see, some people just don't want it. And that's the sad part.
Yeah.
And that's where you feel so sorry for the mothers and fathers.
Yeah, 100%. Tell us a little bit more about St. Mark's and what kind of work you do down there.
Yeah. Well, St. Mark's is a family church. So if you come into our church on a Sunday morning, we would have a service at 10 o'clock. And when the 10 o'clock would be over, probably around 10 o'clock, about 11:30, we had tea and coffee. And it'd be packed from the top to the bottom.
Yeah.
And then at 11:45, we'd have another service. And that would come on for an hour as well. And then after that, we kids everywhere, everybody in there, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And families, beautiful families, like absolutely people that have supported me and helped me through my journey, people that never came from the background that I came, and always just had love for me, compassion for me, always there to help me, always there to ring me. Even before I came here today, I had a lad out of church ring me. He said, he didn't even know I was coming here. He says, John, do you know what? God's put me on your heart. I said, what? I said, you're not going to believe I'm coming to do a show tonight. Yeah. He said, that's why God put me on your heart. That's what I'm saying. They're like brothers and sisters. They look out for you. You know, people talk about the Bible bashers, all this stuff and all nonsense. I'm from Pier's House Flats. I was a heroin addict. I was in prison. I have a beautiful wife with 2 beautiful kids. You think I'm going to Bible bash with 2 kids? Yeah. They've learned their journey along the way. Nathan, as I said earlier, he's a youth pastor. He looks after all the youth in the community. Next week, he's going on a kids camp. I think it's about 500 or 600 kids will go on the camp. Nathan will be speaking to all these kids. And we, families that can't afford it, St. Mark's Church will reach out and support these kids in the neighbourhood. Yeah. We just finished a fun week that we had from St. Mark's Church where all the kids from Pier will come, from Markovich House Flats will come, to bring all the kids, and we'd bring an American team over and we'd have a fun week, bouncy castles, and then we'd have a day. St. Mark's Church is absolutely a fantastic church. Like, you know, if you're ever thinking about coming to a church, come to St. Honest to God, come and sit at the... If you need a peace of mind, come and sit at the back of the church. Yeah. And you'll see on the front of it is a big band. Young people singing. You know, it's absolutely powerful. It changed my life and it made me a different person today. It made me to love my neighbour, to help out, to reach out to my neighbours and let people know that there's a God there that loves them. Not to bash them, not to Bible bash them, not to tell them how to live. Yeah. You know, I was always condemned and I was always put down, I was always told. But the Bible says in John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his son. He didn't send his son into the world to condemn the world, but to love the world. So St. Mark's Church is there to love people, to help people, to see people getting, you know, breakthrough in their life. Yeah. You know, it was only a while ago from St. Mark's Church, I got a phone call and this multi-millionaire man sponsored me to go on a trip, gave me a couple of $1,000. I shared my story with him one day and he says, John, if you ever get a chance, there's a guy in Pier's house, he's living in my apartment. He was a businessman, he had everything. Could you please go and see him? I go on to the church, we need to go and do this. He said, yeah, no problem. I went around to this man's house, I built up a relationship with him. And I went around one day, I hadn't heard from, his whole bed was covered in blood. Whole apartment from top to bottom. He was an alcoholic, he lost his three daughters, he lost his job, he had everything. He had a house in Ballsbridge. Yeah. And we went around and I got a few lads in and we got new beds from the church, new everything, done the whole house up. And that man comes to St. Mark's Church today. So we're not here, St. Mark's is here not to Bible bash people. Yeah. The Bible says, go into the world, help, encourage, build people up. Not to tell them how I'm not going to come and tell you how to live. Your relationship with God is your relationship. And that's what we believe in St. Mark's Church. It's not a religion, it's a relationship you have with God. And we've done many homes from the church and we've gone in and we've done homes. That's what St. Mark's Church does. And you know, you can see all my friends there, different people from the neighbourhood, all there, and all we do is support people and help people. And that's what we do. And that's why we're out in the community. We go in, we do the soup kitchens, we do different things, like, you know. Yeah. And we, as I said, do fun weeks. We go away on these trips to different countries. And we do that from St. Mark's, like, you know. So St. Mark's is absolutely a family church. It's there for your kids, it's there for the mothers and fathers. And if you need someone just to listen to you, we have all the prayer meetings, we have everything there. And so we would encourage people, come, don't be afraid. Them Bornos, they're the people that will help you. Yeah,
but that's what people think, innit?
Yeah, them Bornos,
when I start, we talked about this in the first second episode or something, when I met Heavy.
Yeah.
Like, he says to me, you know, listen, Billy, come to the gym with me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can come to the church or whatever, you know what I mean? But you don't have to be a Christian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to tell you here, you need to praise the Lord and all this joy, you know what I mean?
No. And that's what a lot of people think. If you come into St. Mark's Church, right, you'd walk through the door, you'd probably have 2 or 3 young girls there, 2 or 3 young, welcome to our church. Yeah. Bring it in, where do you want to sit? sit at the back, you want to go up the banky, and that's it.
Yeah.
If you want to be left alone, you're left there on your own.
Yeah.
If you want to talk to someone after it, it's people to talk to. It's absolutely a brilliant setup. It really, really is. Like, you know, I know people are always searching for answers in life. And through me, I found my answer through Jesus Christ. He changed my life, and I know he's changed so many people's lives.
Yeah.
And I always say, like, you know, come along and see it for yourself. You know, and don't listen to the negativity of Bornos preaching. We're not like that.
Yeah. No, here, listen, like, as long as I know you, John, like, years, you know what I mean? You never ever said to me, Anne, you need to go to the church, you're bad, you know what I mean? Never.
It's not about that.
Yeah.
It's about, like, okay, it's changed my life. And I believe if it changed my life, it can change your life.
Yeah.
And I believe that the help is there for you to change your life. Like, if you come to the St. Mark's Church and you're just a normal person, most people in St. Mark's Church never took a drug in their life.
Yeah.
But if you come in and you have an addiction, you're going to get help in that church.
But isn't it? It's mad. Like, people always associate a Christian with somebody who was down on their luck and an alcoholic or a this, that, and you know.
It's not.
In reality, it's not that.
It's probably about, like, in St. Mark, all them hundreds of people, there's probably about 10 of us that came from all them broken lives.
Yeah.
But the Bible says sin is sin. Whether I took drugs, whether I lied, it's all the same.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people struggle with gambling addictions. People struggle with porn.
Yeah.
People struggle with things. So that's why the church is there to help people.
Yeah.
We're not here there to tell you how to live, to take your money. Rubbish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's why, you know, sometimes in church, you have to go and see something for yourself.
Yeah, to be.
So my invitation is to Philip Course, to come to church on Sunday morning, and then one day he's going to be able to speak, he's going to be able to sit in the back of that church and say, praise the Lord.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Oh, there's hope for you, Philip.
Oh, yeah.
See, God can bring you to the next level. Next level.
Yeah.
But look,
you can open doors for me.
You look at the people's lives that, you know, that has changed, and people always say, John, I was in with the doctor, the doctor says, like, I kind of hit rock bottom there about 2 or 3 years ago. Not many people would have known, and my wife was really big support me. I really hit rock bottom. I don't know, it was at the Cove. I was going to work one morning and my body just kept fatiguing. And I thought it was going on my head, but it was going on all day, stopping, coming back, stopping. Couldn't sleep. I'd go to church, couldn't stay easy. My body was just fatiguing. They were sending me back to the hospital. I was running into the hospital at 12 o'clock at night. I didn't know what was wrong with me.
Yeah.
And they were saying, oh, they give me steroids. And then after 2 years of going through this, I could not drive a car. I couldn't drive my car. My wife would tell me, I have to pull in, I can't drive it. And I didn't know what was wrong with me. And I went to the doctor, and the doctor, there's something wrong with me. I don't know what's going on with my system.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep taking steroids. I don't want to keep doing that. I need to get to the bottom of what's going on with me. And he'd done a few tests with me, and he says, John, what it is, you probably have a bit of depression. I said, he said, that's all looking at depression and mental health. And I was like, what? I'm the happiest guy in the world.
Yeah.
He said, but John, like, everybody that comes into the doctor is talking about you, that you're going to help this and help that. Sometimes you have to kind of help yourself.
Back.
I said, doctor, sometimes when it's in you, you can't say no to someone.
Yeah.
So the doctor, through the support of the church and all, I ended up taking the tablets, and within 2 or 3 weeks, I was kind of, boom, I was back to myself, but I hit a brick wall. And I had to depend on God to give me the strength. Because I believe I hadn't got God through them years, I would have just jumped off my bank. It was that bad. But God kept us, people were praying for me, encouraging me. And then one day I'll be grand, the next one I'll boom. But it was really, really hard time. Not many people knew it. And I was still out there trying to help people.
I remember meeting you and telling me about it, you know what I mean? Like, and you just didn't know what it was.
Like, you know, people would always ring you and trying to help you, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know what? What I'm saying is that God is a great God. I want to share one more story, and I won't mention these people's names. I work in the fruit markets. I got Nathan and Joshua a job there when they were young because I wanted lads to learn how to work. Yeah. And Sabrina was always, you know, get them working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there was an incident happened in the job one day. Now everybody, as I was saying, calls me John the Baptist because I'm always sharing the gospel with them, always telling them to come to church. And one day a guy came out on a bike, and I said to the lad, "Watch him. He's looking in them vans." Just, you know what I mean? That's me, mate, watch your van. So little did I know, later on, someone got robbed in the markets, right? No, I didn't know anything about it. So the next day, I think it was the next 2 or 3 days, I was in the job. I fly around with the forklift, right? You know what I mean? So I'm from job to job. So next of all, I find out there was a gang of people from Northern Ireland, covered up with balaclavas, looking for me from 8 o'clock in the morning till 12 o'clock. And Nathan's in the job beside me around the corner. And they're looking for me. And it comes to 12 o'clock. Now, I knew nothing about this. So I just cycled off on my bike, Next of all, the steamy job, covered up with bodies, carrying. So I got a phone call, I said, John, there's people running through this building looking for you. I was like, what? Nah, you're winding me up. And then the lads panicked and they gave these lads me numbers.
Yeah.
But what happened also, because one of them panicked, I said, there's some mugs in the other company. So I have a photograph, about 10 of them running through Nathan's company. Nathan's never been in trouble in his life.
Yeah.
But Nathan had just got his bike and just drove out. So what I'm saying here, these people rang through, they were in the market all morning. Sometimes God protects us.
Yeah,
and he made us invisible that day. And a long story short, these were heavies from Northern Ireland. That day when I said to that guy, watch them lads on your bike, an IRA man got robbed or something. Whatever, someone got robbed. And I set it up. I was the one that set it up. My son was the lookout for it. And these Northern Ireland people were ringing the house, Spring to tell you, Nathan to tell you. You know, people are nervous, like, you know what I mean? And I was on the phone to him and said, you know, I'm not going to meet you. I don't know anything about you. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not going to meet you. But inside then I said, I'm going to have to meet these guys because I don't want them to end up at the house.
Yeah, yeah.
So a lot of the lads were praying me, and then, you know, I said, I'll meet you at the Spire. And so I went into town on my own. I didn't want anybody else getting involved. I didn't want Nathan getting involved. I had done nothing wrong. Yeah. And I knew that God had protected me in the market that day, because if they would have got me that day, they would have been in trouble.
Yeah, yeah.
Would have been big, big trouble. So I knew God had protected me that day. So I went to the Spire, and I'm, you know, a little bit nervous. Like, you know, I don't know where these guys are going to come from. And next of all, I see these guys covering up and coming straight towards me. And next of all, they came straight towards me, and I lost it. I said, the cheeky, you was going for my son running. And we kind of got a little bit hot-headed, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then next of all, someone grabbed me from behind. And I jumped, and it was a homeless man. I said, that's why they call me John the Baptist. We help people, not rob people. I ended up sharing my story with these lads. Sitting there for an hour sharing about the gospel with them, about how Jesus Christ changed my life and why they call me John the Baptist. And from this day on, I kept in contact with them. They ring me to get help by the friends of theirs in Northern Ireland and all. Yeah. But what I'm saying, how God works in me, what the devil meant for evil, God turns all around for his good, and that's what happened to me that day. But that's just another miracle of God's amazing grace. We're his children, and he wants to protect all of us. Yeah, yeah. So it's just amazing stories, like, you know.
100%,
of the grace of God. But that could have ended up so bad that day. Like, you know, the boss would ring me, John, who are these people running through the building with, you know, all Northern Ireland people, all vans, like, you know. And so it all got sorted out in the end, thank God. Thank God. So what? Literally, yeah. But that's what that's, you know, and always having the support of a church there, and always having a family that you can ring there. Listen, lads, you need to pray for me. Like, you know, I'm going. We're all praying for you, and that, you know. So what I'm saying is that's what St. Mark's Church is about. And our pastor Sean Malarkey and his wife are the most beautiful two people you will ever meet. You walk up and they speak on the stage. Sean will just have a nice T-shirt on, or, you know, whatever. A normal. He was a school teacher, I think, a headmaster, and he gave it all up to be a pastor in St. Mark's Church. And even, as I said about Nathan, I'm so proud of Nathan as well, being a youth pastor in St. Mark's Church. And he just does great work with the young kids. Great work. So, yeah, that's about St. Mark's Church.
Listen, to be honest, you have two kids, like, you know. You should be so proud of them, John. You brought them up so good, you know.
But I had to say, my wife, Serena, was always real strong with them. Yeah. She was absolutely, for a small woman, I call her the silent assassin. She takes no messing, and she's brilliant, and I've been blessed with the best, like, you know what I mean? So God gave me the best. Like, I've travelled all over the world today, and, you know, even I remember being in schools and sharing, I shouldn't be doing this today. Yeah. But it's by the grace of God.
Happy days.
So can you feel the power of God, Philip? Can you feel it? Give me your money! Give me your money!
I knew you wanted to be
Pass the basket around.
I'm not putting a few of your friends now, rings in. I think you're next, Philip. Philip, I think you're next, Pat.
You're filming that.
We can do a podcast on that.
Yeah. But maybe one day the invitation is to you.
No problem.
In. You know, you might meet a nice Christian woman down there for yourself.
Yeah.
Oh.
Could do it,
Yeah, tell you now. Never say never.
No. Never say never.
Never say never, but that's, you know, that's part of my story and part. And
I don't need to go to the church and meet women.
No, you don't. But I'm saying you can come. You don't need to go there to meet God. You meet God in your own person. You go there to meet other people that care, people that are just genuine people, like, you know. And it's just great. Like, even we go to the Christmas party with all them people. I remember I was at the Christmas party last year, and I'm a terrible messer. So we're all in suits and, you know, dressed up in the hotel and all, because me and my wife are on the pastoral team. Yeah. So the people that do it, so I'm there with a water gun, my wife said, don't. So I'm just spraying everybody the water gun. They're all looking up. There's a leak in the place, like, you know what I mean? And I'm sitting down, and their table is in stitches, man. So I'm just keep there for the whole, and it's like they're calling the guys over to the I'm an awful messer. Like
you seem to be a messer on all your thing with water, don't you?
Yeah, I love
water.
water. It's like even in the spa.
Holy water, is it?
Don't
Like it's amazing, like how the clock's going back. I robbed the Spar, jumped the counter 20 odd years ago with a friend of mine, robbed all the black bags full of cigarettes. The guy gets into a bit of trouble, owns the Spar, rings me to help him out. So I'm in the Spar now helping him out, and not saying because of me all the robbing has stopped. It's absolutely a great atmosphere.
Yeah.
I catch people robbing, I go out and put my hand around them and talk to them. I said, if you're hungry, come and talk to me. If you need that, come and talk to me. And it's just changed the whole it's brilliant. Like, but I always go on my water gun. And I'm in there with the water gun, sitting in the Spar, spraying the water, and the old people, I think you have a leak on the ceiling. But someone said to me, it's great fun. It's just have a bit of fun and enjoy life, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you have to, like,
you have to, like.
But it's great to be able to talk about your faith at the end of the day. It really is, like, you know what I mean? Like, even in St. Mark's Church, to think I was the guy that was robbing all the cars in the car park, smashing the windows, taking their laptops, taking their phones, robbing cars, joyriding past St. Mark's and all, like, you know what I mean? And then building the building down beside it. Yeah. And to have my whole family in that church there, it's a miracle. Yeah. It really is.
How life goes in
how it all changes around,
like,
and to see what we've done and travel all over the world in different places and where kids have nothing to be able to work with and get back. It's actually beautiful, like, And
how the three of us are now telling people about it.
From all that time,
It's amazing how
100%, life is like
who have I taught this?
Life is a fucking trip, you know what I mean?
It's I wouldn't change any all the stuff we've gone through as a kid, and someone actually stopped me there a while ago and said, John, we had a contract for you to go to England for football. I wouldn't change what I have now for the world. I really, really wouldn't change anything for the world. 2 beautiful kids, a beautiful wife, and a God that loves me, and it gives me a chance every single day.
I know, 100%. To be honest with you, same myself. Like, I'm so grateful for everything that I have in my life. So grateful for it. Like, I wouldn't be. If we hadn't went through all the shit I went through, I wouldn't be the person I am now. You know what I mean? I'd probably be still some little scumbag or whatever. You know what I mean?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, we made the right choices.
100%.
We went down different roads. We had to go different roads. Like, another story as well. Actually, when I come back from treatment, I actually went back to prison because of all the outstanding warrants and this. And so I went back in. But I had to say, fair play to the guards. They stood back up for me in the car and said, and this is what they said, because I had the pastor of the church, said, we don't think this man something has happened. Yeah. We're willing to suspend his sentence that he signs on every single day for 2 years. Yeah. Because he's back in the community, and St. Mark's Church there are going to support him. So we had to sign on for nearly about a year. Yeah. Going into the police station and signing on. And to be able to go back into the courts and stand up for people. I remember a guy from Pier, I won't mention his name, a lovely man. I got a phone call of a family of his. There was loads of drugs and all found in his house. But I knew this man was not into this. And I got a phone call and I said, John, will you go to court for him? Will you go and speak up for him? And I went to the court, and little did I know, the judge looks at me and says, oh, Mr. Gorman. And I just got up and said, Your Honour, you know the life I came from. This man here was my neighbour. This man here encouraged me as a child and helped me to come and get off drugs. He was absolutely a gentleman. Yeah. Yes, he had a problem with alcohol. Yes, he had it, but from day one, that man never took drugs. But he abused his home. Yeah. People used and abused his home. And I shared for about 5 minutes, and the judge is just looking at me. And I went back and sat down, and everybody's in the courtroom looking. He says, 5 years. I think he said 5 years, and they're all looking. Suspended.
Oh, lovely.
And the guy thought he had to get 5 years. Yeah. He did. And I said, you're free to go. I said to him, but when I was talking, I said, like, what happens is God takes your place sometimes. Yeah. Now you've been given the chance, and that guy has never been in trouble
ever again.
But how God uses you to go back into the prisons, to go back into the courts, to go back into schools. Do you know? Schools where you were thrown out of Western Road School for the first day. God gives you the grace to go back into these places and help people.
Oh yeah, listen, that's what I'd love to do, shit like that. Go to schools and talk to kids and tell them, listen, there's a much better life out there.
Yeah.
Drugs is like...
The kids need to know these days because, the kids they want to be accepted. As I said, I share my story at different schools and different things. And, the kids be clapping and cheering and all. I say, hang on. You are the heroes.
Yeah.
You are not doing what I done.
Yeah.
I said, we were cowards. I was a coward. Only for the grace of God saved my life. I was going down a road of destruction. But I said, you are the heroes that don't need to be accepted. So keep going and keep studying and keep doing good in school.
Oh, big time. Like, education is the key,
100%,
man. You know what I mean?
And that's, you know what I mean?
Like nowadays, kids are clever enough, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, phones and shit like that. Like, I can put my phone on. And, that's open one or two apps, like, but... If you ask me to change passwords and do all this, I'll be like, what? I get someone to do it for me.
I get my
you
kids
have to get someone you trust,
My kids always do it for me, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, as I give a bit of hope out there, as I said about Nain, he married a girl from Belfast, Carrie Louise, absolutely a beautiful young girl. Yeah. Honest to God. And her job is also as well working with the elderly, and she loves doing it, like, you know what I mean? And the same with my wife, she just constantly works with kids and broken people, broken families and all. And we love doing it. So, I'm really, anybody listening to this tonight and you need any help or any support, please pick up the phone and let us know. We're there to help and support. Amen.
Amen.
Amen, brother.
Amen, brother.
Can we sing a song? Amazing Grace. Only messing.
That was my ex-boy's name.
Was it?
Grace, yeah.
Oh, Amazing Grace. What?
Amazing Grace, yeah.
Saved the wrench, like Philip Curtis.
Yeah.
Once was lost, but now we are found. In Jesus' name, amen.
Praise the Lord.
Amen.
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 Right, episode 10, done and dusted. Billy loves you. John, pleasure.
Love you, bro.
Pleasure,
Keep up the great work, pal.
Yeah, 100%.
God bless.